Hi, we're Roy and Karen, and this video is about our RV bucket list trip and just what it's like to be in there for 2 months.
RV bucket list, the revelations. We're back in the villages after 2 months on our bucket list RV adventure. We're back here to water volleyball, music in the squares, and
Afternoon rain.
and scheduling how to mow our lawns. I want to thank Gordy of the YouTube channel Gordy and Deb in the Villages, who graciously mowed my lawn and watched over our house
Kept an
for
eye
us
on our
for
home.
2 months. For 2 months. Thank you, buddy. We saw lime green new growth on the trees in the Great Smoky Mountains. Lime like you never could possibly envision. And the brown, muddy river water that we whitewater rafted in Nova Scotia. There you go.
And lots of variations in between with Badlands sand and Glacier National Park granite and oh my gosh, everything that we experienced.
And Chicago pizza and Kansas City barbecue. We've got so much to show you.
And lobster, baby.
A lot of lobster. Good and bad. And this was a trip better than we had planned. We made changes on the road, on the fly, sometimes to deal with something exciting that we didn't know about till we got on the road, or planning errors on someone's part, making some drives too long, and we needed to split some things up. We figured we'd do a video and we would tell you what's good and what's bad. I think actually most of it was good. I think we did really well. The first category is, how did the RV work out for us? I'm talking about size, the bed, the showers, the bathroom, the storage overall, because it's a very small RV.
It was definitely okay. There were so many times that I appreciated the size, the ability to get into the national parks, the ability to park it readily in just about any place. Some of the beach cities were a little tight, but it really worked well. We had to be creative when it came to what we brought with us and how we packed. And yeah, we're Costco shoppers. There's no Costco shopping for a trip like this.
It turned out that what we put in there for those bins worked out better than I ever expected. I think clothes was always like playing Tetris, but never so bad that I just dreaded it every day.
Well, thankfully, the climate stayed mostly the same. So we had moderate for a couple weeks.
Yeah,
and
at
then
least.
we had cold for a week. And then we had moderate for a couple weeks. And then we got hot. And
Bathroom. Anything to say about the bathroom?
I have that down to
The
a science.
bathroom is the bomb in this RV. We've talked about it before. It's one of the main reasons we bought this RV. It's the whole third of the back. We loved it. The shower was plenty big enough. The bed,
Is a Murphy bed. So it has to share space with the living space.
but what I'm getting at is, was it
Not our-
comfortable?
It's not our adjustable bed.
Right.
But with a couple pillows here and there, strategically placed, it can be as close as we're going to get, and it's just fine.
My biggest concern was that after 2 months, our backs could be hurting. And I would hate that would be a month and a half into this trip with backs that are hurting.
And cutting things short because you're just done. You don't want to
Because
deal with it anymore.
you know, and it wasn't like that. So that worked out great. Breakdowns and repairs. Within our first week, I noticed that we had a propane leak. We were using way more propane than we should have used. And on a Sunday, I found a place. We were in the Smoky Mountains, and I found a place out in Cherokee or somewhere out there, North Carolina, that said they did RV repairs. But when I got there, they'll sell me the parts, but there was no one to do the repairs. the part pressure regulator just didn't seem like it was going to be that big a deal. So I bought the part, went back to the park, fixed it.
No
More
problem.
problems.
Yay!
Our water pump went out again.
We need
So
water.
I went back to the same guy, and I bought a water pump there, took it back to the campsite, and I put the water pump in there. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I've only been gone for a week and I already have 2 things. But pretty much
That was it. For the
up
most part.
until our last day, everything was perfect. The pocket door between the bathroom and the rest of the
coach.
RV, one of the thingies at the top, the door fell out. And I'm watching YouTube videos how to repair these doors.
Isn't YouTube great?
But they're showing me what the parts look like. And we get to Gainesville, which is only an hour from home. Honey, by the time you come out of Trader Joe's, I'm going to have that door fixed. So you went in there. I took the boys for a walk. Came back, found the problem, fixed it, boom.
All done.
How did the RV work out for us? Final topic, getting into locations and parking. Now, I can only recall less than a handful of times where we wanted to go, for example, to a lighthouse. And there was no way we were going to find any parking there or anywhere close to it. We were going through Kennebunkport. And if you didn't plan, we wouldn't have got to Noonan's where our first place. That's the place we wanted to have lobster roll.
We drove by it earlier before we were ready to go.
So
and we had a
plan.
chance to scope, okay, what do we do? Is there a place in there? How would we do this?
So you get there early, and there was like one parking spot that we would fit into. So we just had to pray that no one was in it.
Yeah, in Maine coastal areas, parking's tight. And that's true of any beach community usually, but it was
And that's
tight.
the point. I think, looking back, we didn't have problems. Chicago, we parked in front of the restaurant on the street.
Where we were all worried, oh, okay, we have to just go to this location because there's a parking lot over here not too far away. If we can't park in the restaurant's parking lot, then we have plan B. And
So, how did the RV work out for us? How well did we prepare to go on the road? So, food storage, food prep, where are you storing this, and the size of the refrigerator, and as often as we went shopping, how was all of that?
we put a lot of thought into it, and we took off with 9 days worth of meals prepared in Ziploc bags that you could have flat and stacked. So it's
put 'em in the
very limited storage.
And those were in the freezer.
And those were in the freezer. I figured that'd get us through the first week or so while we figured all this out and not have to worry about that. So I wish we'd had opportunities to do more of that throughout the trip, because as we shopped and tried to fill, then it becomes Tetris in the refrigerator trying to put everything in there. But we did it, and it worked fine. But we would make some changes next time to be able to accommodate that a little bit more, I think.
Well, that's my honey's point of view. I thought everything worked out great, and I was surprised by how much food she brought, because in my head I had a plan. We're gonna go shopping. I'm gonna make a meal that we're gonna get a day or two's worth of leftovers, and then you're gonna make a meal that we're gonna get a day or two of leftovers. That's 6 days, and we'll eat out. And if we just do that every week, easy peasy. But there were some weeks where she just wanted to cook all week. That's what she wanted to do. And who am I to get in her way?
He's been driving. He did most of the driving. Very little of it did I do, even though I could. Very little did I do. And that's because he prefers that. So not sure that I do sometimes.
Well, I offered to share some of the other chores with you, like dumping the tank, and you just wouldn't take me up on it.
Yeah, that's yours.
What we learned about how to do a trip like this. So one of the things we learned about was mail services, and the other thing we learned about was phone services. I'll do phone service first because it's quick and it's easy. we're with Spectrum Mobile, and I found out that the regular unlimited plan we're on gives you limited amount of
Data.
limited amounts of features. You get 30 gigs before they throttle you. But if you upgrade to the Unlimited Plus, which gets you the 50 gigs, it also gets you roaming in Canada and data in Canada. So you got 10 gigs of data in Canada, and then you didn't have to worry about making phone calls and sending text messages out and so on and so forth. What we learned, though, that we didn't know was that I did that service on both of our phones, and I figured we're sharing the data, so it was 50 gigs between us. Well, it turns out, no, it was 50 gigs each phone. And that's a really big deal for the extra $10 a month that we paid to get an extra 20 gigabytes each, 40 gigabytes. That's big on cellular data. Getting mail. We signed up with a mail service. The name of the company we used was PostScan Mail. And for X number of dollars, they'll receive X number of letters for you. And the services run anywhere from $10 to $100. We picked a $30 service. But one of the things they'll do, it's included, is if you get an important letter that you need to see, they'll open it and scan it for you. And I think the service that I signed up for, they would have done that for 20 envelopes. They'll email that to you. Worked out really, really good, except...
Took 10 days before we ever received anything.
So by the time we received something, if it was something that was important, it probably would have been a letter saying we canceled you. We checked around, and it seems like they all may be like this. I couldn't find one that was faster than that. I even called the company and said, hey, other companies are saying 10 days. Oh, no, we're not like that. And then they were.
But there was one item you just passed your FAA.
Right.
And you got your certification, but
And
the actual
they got it.
certificate had not arrived before we needed to leave.
My certificate card. And so what they'll do is they'll hold on to it for you 30 days for free, and then a nickel a day as long as you want them to hold it. So they held it for another month, and they charged me like $1.50, whatever it was. And then when we turned our mail forwarding off, I told them to mail that letter to me, and I think they're going to charge $3 or something. Long drives, and every day was driving or doing, and I'm combining these together because if you're going to do a long drive, but you're going to follow it with 5 days of relaxing, a long drive doesn't really mean anything. But if you're going to do long drives, followed with a short drive, followed with, oh, we're going hikes that afternoon. Followed with, oh, we're going to museums and we're going here and we're going there the following day. Oh, by the way, now we're getting back in the car again and we're taking another long drive. That's when long drives become a problem. I think it took 2 or 3 weeks for it to kick in, but we started having issues. But the big deal here is what I say about every day was driving or doing. That was the problem. And what I mean is there were times where we got someplace and we wanted to record the video of what we had just done the week before. We didn't leave any time for that. We didn't really leave time for food prep. You know, I talk about, I'll make a meal and we'll have leftovers. But when are we supposed to do it?
Right.
And then I didn't leave any days for just sitting and resting. I did, but so few.
I have a great zero gravity chair. Never did bring it out.
Well, maybe twice, and the bugs chased us indoors. But
I think you brought it out once for a video, not to put your feet up.
But these are things that we learned. Next year's travel, that's when we'll be able to apply them.
Yeah. And you were able to modify some things on the fly to make it.
We did, and you'll see those in the videos as we just make changes on the fly. 2 people, 2 dogs, small RV. How did that work out? Closeness.
The boys Share their bed when it's cold. Help each other stay warm.
When we're home, we allow them in our bed.
One of them.
Yukon gets to stay in our bed. That's his bed. He won't let Colt up there when we're in it. When we leave, they're both up there. Mm-hmm. We train the boys, they're not allowed in the bed in the RV. Yeah. And for the most part, they obey that. When we get out of the bed, right before we fold it up, Colt will jump in it and you just test our
roll
nerves.
all over it. It's like, you can't keep me out.
Why? I have no idea, but that's his routine every single morning.
Like
I'm jumping in before you can close it. It's a small, confined space, and it's almost like 4 people, but 2 of them can't communicate as well as you might like. Was this a problem for us all?
No, we figured it out, and we may not be able to spread out quite as much as we want because all 4 of us were on the couch.
Do you guys know that you're in Glacier National Park? Do you know what it's like to be in Glacier National Park? There's lots of walks. Yes, there's lots of smells. Oh my gosh, all the smells. Can you believe it? The animals.
How did the boys do on long drives?
They do fine. And Colt wants to look out and see where we're going, and Yukon wants to use Colt's butt as a pillow. And it worked fine the whole way.
There's nothing else for us to say. That's it. They sit on the couch, Yukon on Colt's butt, Colt looking out the window. Done. Sleeping arrangements, like we said, most of the time they shared a bed until it got hot, and then Colt liked to sleep on the cold floor, so he came out.
And sometimes Yukon wanted to curl up and be on one of our seats up in the cab, and it was fine. No
problem. Bodily functions. And it's a really interesting topic, and it's fascinating how each of the dogs adapted their own way.
And thankfully, the placement of our carbon monoxide monitor does not get impacted by doggy farts, which I read an article. That can be a problem for some folks.
Okay. Well, luckily, that wasn't the problem. Good news. I thought Yukon, being the smart boy, he would adapt faster. But Colt, the big galoot, I mean, within a week...
Oh, we're doing this now? Okay. Okay, can do that now? Okay.
He was so easy. How does he doesn't really howl, but he whines. He just comes to the side of the bed, I'm ready to go. and he stays on the schedule. You know, he started at 6:30, and then when he hit a time zone, he went to 5:30. Just whatever it is, he stayed on schedule, and so we just rolled with that. Yukon? No, he's going to hold on to it for 5 days.
Or he's going to go out and he's supposed to pee, and he's going to think, oh, maybe if I hold it, he'll keep walking me.
It was unbelievable. He refused. The first thing in the morning, he's been holding it for God knows how many hours.
10, 12 hours.
And he refuses to go. He just wants to go for a walk. No, you're not going. But we found if we took them to the dog park, he'd let all 5 days go in one fell swoop. He'd just make landmines all over the park.
Go through a lot of bags in one fell swoop.
The next topic is 2 people, 1 small RV. How did that work out? So let's talk about closeness. I know if I get too close to Karen in the kitchen here in the house, she'll say to me, it's a little peoply in the kitchen right now. Because you have all this room and you're expecting to have all the space you want. In the RV, I never heard a word from Karen on it. I would have to scooch up real close and squeeze by somewhere. She never said a word. She just kept on going. I think we were just both very forgiving of all the compromises that you just need to make in a very small space.
You have to be, otherwise, how are you going to do this?
But I thought it would be a problem. I thought there could be hard feelings. Hard feelings. You know, if I was trying to scooch by to get to the bathroom and you're in the kitchen doing something, you could have said something. Hey, I'm standing here. Well, I'm just trying to go to the bathroom, honey.
There's one out there.
But it wasn't any of that stuff. It was really sweet and loving. I'm going to leave it there. Long drives. I screwed up. And Karen verbalized it to me. She told me she was having a problem. And I made all these adjustments to that. We heard each other. Again, that's just like the closeness. We were really forgiving of each other. I screwed up, but I never felt like I screwed up. My honey just said, here's my problem. And I'm the fix-it. I'm the fixer guy. Was there any more than that?
As much as you could. Sometimes it just is what it is and you have to accept because it's done.
Sleeping arrangements. Now this is 2 people, small RV, sleeping arrangements. Any problems there? 2 people?
Nope.
Then I will just say this. Bodily functions. We gotta hit it. We did it with the dogs. We're going to do it with the people. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to go right back to category number 1, where we talked about closeness and how we were just forgiving each other. It's just the way...
What did you eat?
What did you feed me? Oh my God, you should have let me cook.
And you're going to give me a pot full of cabbage. Yeah, that's an idea.
We just dealt with it. If one of us went to the bathroom, it's a really small RV and you just deal with it, and it wasn't a problem. I don't know if that's just us. I don't know if other people would have dealt with it the same way, but we went into this trip knowing we are going to be close, baby. And we were. The question then, there's only one question.
Would you do it again?
We are.
We're going to.
We can't wait for you to see the videos that start next week.
It's exciting stuff. It was awesome. And yes, we would do it again.
Okay, I got to tell you a story. We happened to notice 2 days before we're going to leave on this trip that at Florida Springs, Gilchrist Blue Springs, a campsite became available. It's never available. There's like almost no campsites. I think there's like 10 to 13
it's very
campsites.
Small and it's new and it's highly desired.
Well, there's a space available tomorrow. And Karen's like,
We're
I
ready.
want to go right
Let's
now. Let's just go. So we started this trip a day earlier than we planned. It's just so funny. But that's next week. I'm going to put that right there. In the meantime,
We appreciate you traveling with us.
see ya.